Can the 2024 season be the season that Virginia Tech makes it to the ACC championship? I mean, getting back to, I would say, at least the standard that Frank Beamer had set a while back. And before you write them off as contenders, hear what I got to say.
Yeah, the fanatic. Where we keep it 100, keep it real. That's the only way we know how to be. Talking that sports talk. You know what I'm saying? Straight out of South Carolina, upstate, A64. Yeah, the FANATTIC, the fanatic, where we keep it OG. We talking sports, so I call what I
All right, man. Welcome into another episode of the Fanatic on the Fanatic Sports Network. I'm your man, Coach I. Listen, man, we here doing season previews for the ACC. Currently, we'll move through the other Power Four conferences as the time goes on. But today is the 2024 season preview of Virginia Tech. Listen, as I said in the intro, I think Virginia Tech has a realistic shot at competing for the ACC title this year. And I don't think it's far-fetched either. I mean, you got Brent Pry entering his third season at Virginia Tech. And while there's been a lot of, of course, talk, and rightfully so, about Clemson because they are who they are in the ACC. And then you got a lot of talk about Florida State because of what they did last year. And then also it's been a lot of talk about Miami. And the last team is the one I want to kind of compare the trajectory of Virginia Tech to, and that's Miami. I mean, if you think about it, both coaches, Brent Pry and Mario Cristobal, going into their third season. Now, Cristobal has definitely recruited better, but I mean, just think about it. So just look at this graphic here. Overall record in year one. Of course, Mario Cristobal was a little bit better. I would say, of course, Miami already had better talent than Virginia Tech at the time. So they both Brent Pry was 3-8. Mario Cristobal was 5-7. Year two, they both were 7-6 and made a bowl game. Now, year one in the ACC, Mario Cristobal had 2 games better, but neither record was something to sneeze at. But if you look at that year two jump, the ACC record for Virginia Tech, 5-3, Miami 3-5. So while they had the same overall record, Virginia Tech actually did better in the ACC. And if you see, when I say year one recruiting on the next line, that's 2020, the class of 2023. Given both coaches came in 2022, I don't really count that class. You know what I'm saying? You get a full year before I say you have your first real class. And Brent Pry did 39th. I don't think that's surprising to anybody, but Mario Cristobal at 7th overall, first in the ACC. Then his second year, 4th overall, which is class of 2024, first in the ACC again. Virginia Tech actually went down, but the reason for some of that, a reason why Virginia Tech went down is what we're about to talk about now. And let's start on the offensive side of the ball. Listen, on the offensive side of the ball, man, they return 95% of their offensive production, which is ranked for number one in the country in FBS. And I think that lended to some of the drop, I would say, in the recruiting because there's not as many spots to go around for the offense since they brought back so much. They brought back Kyron Jones, quarterback, their running back, and all 4 of their top 4 wide receivers. So not a lot of room there for some recruits to come in. So that could be why. Also, just like on the offense, man, what I'm looking for in 2024 is can they improve like they did from year one to year two on offense. Year one, they was around 19 points a game in 2022. Year three, they was at 29.5 points a game, almost 30 points a game, man. That's a huge leap. If they can take that same kind of leap and be in the high 30s, maybe even 40 with all this returning production, then again, it's not out of the realm to say that Virginia Tech might vie for the ACC. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, they return a lot of production too. It's not as it's not the number one in the country like the offense, but the defense returns 77% of their production. Right, that's good for 12th in the FBS. Dorian Strong, defensive backs, coming off all second team All ACC season, third team All American. So and then they get an incoming transfer from Aeneas Peebles from that Duke team, who I thought had a pretty good defense last year under the coach that's now at Texas A&M. So, but this is Brent Pry, if I would say, especially side of the ball. You know what I'm saying? So now, while the offense on the other side made a huge jump from year one to year two, the defense made a jump, but just not as big. You know what I'm saying? They went from like 24 and a half, giving up 24 and a half points a game to about 23.9, I think it was. I think that number needs to go below 20, and while the offense is staying above, 30 plus points a game for them to contend for the ACC. So I think it's possible though. And I think it's a very realistic thing in 2024, especially again with the offensive and defensive production returning. Now, another thing that plays into whether or not you can make it to a conference championship and even the playoffs, it's not just the talent you bring in and your coaching, it also is the schedule. The schedule plays a huge part. I think we saw that last year with Louisville, who had a good team, but they also had a favorable schedule. And this year, the games to watch for me, I think goes along with why I think they have a shot at it. So if we take a look at the schedule, I mean, they start off four strong. I think they're going to be 4-0. Not saying these teams, not to down none of the teams in the first four, but I'm just saying at Vanderbilt, Marshall, at Old Dominion, and Rutgers. Rutgers, I think, was able to score some points last year, but I just don't think with all the return production coming into Lane Stadium, they're going to be able to handle Virginia Tech. Now, the games that I'm looking for are the ones I got arrowed. Now, the orange arrows are on the road, and the two Virginia Tech don't get on me, but I maroon. I think that's what it is. I don't want to call it burgundy. So maroon are at home. So you got at Miami on Friday, September the 27th. So I think that's definitely going to be the first test. It's on the road again, but you got a lot of returning experience, so they should be able to handle the road environment. It's not like Miami's home crowd is a Rutgers crowd or anything like that. Georgia Tech, October 26th at home. Georgia Tech returns a lot on offense. I think they got a lot of great minds on offense on that staff, but their defense almost lost everything. Not that they had a great defense, but whatever it was, they lost a lot of that. And I think that game's definitely winnable for Virginia Tech because of like I say, all the production they return on offense. At Syracuse, I think it'll be tougher than people think. I know it's a new coach in Fran Brown, but they also return a lot of production, and they got Kyle McCord, who, again, I'm not saying he played at an elite level last year, but I think I'm higher on him than some of the Ohio State fans were last year. And they got some offensive weapons from Georgia in the transfer portal. He got a couple of pieces on the offensive line. So I think that right there is definitely going to be a tough test. And then, of course, Dabo Swinney and Clemson coming to Lane Stadium November the 9th. If ESPN, anybody at ESPN was watching this by chance, please make that a night game in Blacksburg. Like, I think that right there could decide, at that point, who may have one of the spots in the ACC championship. They play Miami and Clemson, so that could be like a round robin, and one of those games could knock somebody off. But again, I don't think it's out of the realm to say that Virginia Tech is definitely should be in people's top 3 or 4 favorites to try to make the ACC. So, man, get in the comments, man. Let me know what you think Virginia Tech is going to be this year. Any questions you might have as far as what you're thinking may be a weakness for Virginia Tech, and players to watch. So don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, man. It's Coach I, the Fan Addict. We out here.
We got it jumping like it's that valley. I call my dogs out the pound, let's go eat. Turn on the Fan Addict, let's have a debate. Who really hold down the Southeast from state to state? What team hungry gonna eat everything up off they plate?